corruption.
How come
Just hear it. Next time you come, wait your I am not talking about that. I'm talking about you in 2024, December, corruption, bring it.
Let me ask you this question. I would like to ask the AG to propose legislation for what we call small claims court. There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their
right?
A right, the right that someone has. All our rights exist in context.
What is the context of a second medical opinion?
Because you're disrespecting the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you seem to do, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a future, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Hi there, pleasant evening to you. Hope our program reaches you in good spirits wherever you are. This is the Freddie Kissoon Show. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Our co-host, as usual, is Leonard Craig. In our studio this evening is a person who needs no introduction. Very outspoken person, attorney at law, former APNU AFC government official, member of parliament in the last parliament, and now someone working alongside the PPP, and she is a candidate for the PPP in the 2025 election. Our guest this evening, as you can see on the screen, is Geeta Chandan, but many times she would remind people the real whole name, legal name, is Geeta Chandan Edmond. I go back a long time with Geeta Chandan Edmond and her husband Edmond. I taught them donkey years ago at the University of Guyana, and since then I've known her and we've always maintained a very good relationship, her husband and I too. I forgot to mention also that Geeta was also the chairman of the Chronicle Board during the time of APNU AFC government, and in my discussions with her there, she's always been open-minded about the role of journalism. Without further ado, welcome to Mistress Geeta Chandan Edmonds. It's a long time we knew each other, donkey years.
Donkey years.
Well, you would have known.
Thank you so much, sir. I still call you sir out of respect. You were my political teacher at my days at University of Guyana. You taught me Paul 110 and 120.
Yep.
Yes, and maybe that's when you shaped my memory. And maybe that's why I am who I am today, because of your teaching. So it's my privilege and my honor to be on your program. And I have the greatest of respect for you. According to my faith and belief, teachers are given the respect that you would give your parents. And I think onto this day and age, I know sometimes you take offense to it when I would meet you in the national park or the seawall and I address you as sir. And you would say to me very frankly, why not say Freddie? But I can't. It goes against my religious teachings. Because according to my teachings, a teacher has to be given that respect as that of a parent. It's my pleasure also to be in the company of my comrade and friend, Leonard Craig, a distinguished son of the soil. And I need to clarify something. I was never a member of the Alliance for Change, but I don't know how come I got the title of being a member of the Alliance for Change. I guess it's because of association, but I was never a member of the Alliance for Change. So thank you for having me with you.
Okay. Geeta, let's start with a question the thousands of people who are watching this would want to know. You have now transitioned from APNU to the PPP. There must be a whole set, it must be a school, a tsunami of thought that were running through your mind from the time that step began to be taken. There is one thing in those steps that I'd like you to explain, because put ourselves in your place. A member, an African citizen of the WPA, said some very condescending, disparaging remarks about the East Indian race in Guyana. And I think you courageously said, you rejected that on the basis of it had been racial sentiments. I don't think your party at that time, your parliamentarians, gathered around you and said, look, we have to protect our parliamentarian. Would I be wrong to say that was a moment of deep reflection of where you go from there?
Thank you for that very important question, sir. That was one of the factors that led me to where I am today. There were several factors leading up to the decision that I've taken. I've never been an impulsive person. My religious training, my judicial training has taught me that I have to always be reasoned and very objective. So everything that I've done, I've weighed the pros and the cons. I am from a party that belongs to the People's Progressive Party Civic. I was a member of the PYO at that time, and I've served in different capacities. The people in Berbice would recall that I worked for a number of elections as a very young girl with them at Freedom House in New Amsterdam. But in 2015, I decided that change is not a bad thing. Change is actually very good. And at that time, the APNU was campaigning on integrity and a good life. And those were things that I could relate to, that I resonated with. So I said to myself, change is not a bad thing. It is going to be a continuation of my public service. Public service is actually a part of my religious faith. My religious faith is the underpinning of everything that I've done in my life. So one of the mottos of my faith is that we have to serve humanity. So I said they are campaigning on integrity and a good life and every other thing that they've campaigned on. It's not a bad thing for me to be a part of this change movement. And I did serve, but then as I got closer into it, that is when I realized the dynamism that played out. And I had a very rude awakening. To your question, sir, I was called a lot of names. And yes, no one in the hierarchy or no one in the party stood up for me when I was called all those names. Very derogatory names. And those words that I have said there and then, I stand by them. I could never be associated with anything that is regressive. I can never be associated with anything that is going to lead to moral decay. I can never be associated that will lead us back to the pre-60s and 70s era. This is a modern era. This is a progressive era. Why would we want to go back to that regressive era? And yes, that was one of the factors that I took into account when no one stood up when I was called all those names. But albeit that when I held all the high portfolio positions, I was not called a window dresser or a curtain dresser. I don't remember the words now. Slave catcher, probably I was called. But I served in several high portfolio capacity. And why was that? It was because of my work ethic and my education and the person who I am. Because I've always served with purpose. I've always served with integrity. And coming back to that person who has labeled me and other persons various names, what would he say now, knowing that Tabitha Sarabo Haley is now aligned with the Win Party?
That's his stepdaughter. Yeah.
Whatever is the relationship, but I know there is some relationship. But you are out there publicly ridiculing people, and who have a democratic right. People have a democratic right to choose who they want to be associated with. What are you going to say now that Tabitha Sarabo Haley is associated with Win Party? And Win Party is a party that is being headed by someone who is sanctioned. And I take that very, very, very seriously. I take serious umbrage to that someone who has been sanctioned, not by our government, by the US government, OFAC, and there are serious allegations. And we all know that there had to be evidence beyond a reasonable doubt for those sanctions to have been taken. I've listened to some of the clips. People, and even to that person, has been going around claiming that they're a victim. These sanctions are a doing of our government, but it is not so. And that is something that has to be cleared up. Those sanctions are as a result of your deeds. And as the saying go, you do the crime, you have to pay your time.
Just an extension, just an extension of Freddie's question. You also, if my memory serves me right, participated in writing a letter to the press with other East Indian members of the APNU at the time. What was the thinking behind that? What drove that? And what was the issue? Can you share with the public?
Certainly I can. There was a letter written by my comrades of the party that I then served, but I was not a signatory to that letter. They took umbrage to the comments made by a WPA member, Rhonda. I don't recall, please forgive me for this, but I don't recall her name fully. Mm-hmm. But it's something had to deal with Indian living in slums. My statement was in relation to the comments made by Tukuma Ogunsi. Mm-hmm. And we all know that he has been charged. At least I think so.
Yeah, he has been charged.
Yeah, he has been charged. And my statement was in relation to that. Mm-hmm. So it was not I was not a co-signatory. In fact, I was never asked to be a signatory to that letter.
I thought
so
I
took my own initiative to pen a letter. Because this is not a regressive era. Mm-hmm. I have children. We all have children. And we do not want our society reverted to what it was. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty young. I'm a 1980s baby, but I still can relate to some of the things that happened in the 1990s, 1996. Mm-hmm. I was coming to Georgetown at a very, very tender age in 1996, and we were caught up in some of the unrest that took place in Bath Settlement. Mm-hmm. It was a terrifying, traumatic experience for me, and it's something that haunts me until now. Our bus, it was in a line of buses. Well, I can't say buses. It was in a line of vehicle headed to Georgetown, and we were stopped at Buxton. And petrified, being a very young person, all I recall was that our bus was turned over, and our bus was lit afire. Mm-hmm. And I recall this gentleman just holding my hand and asking me, "What is my name?" And I don't even recall what was my name. Mm-hmm. Where were you from? I don't know, because I was in shock and I was in trauma. Mm-hmm. So how is it that I can subscribe to something like that?
He was being protective. He was being...
Oh, yes. The gentleman was a passenger in the bus at that time. Mm-hmm. Because he realized I'm a very young person at that time. Mm-hmm. I was in shock. I was in trauma. And he just held my hands, and then he just said to me, I recall those words vividly as a very young person, say, "Just run." And we were running. And there was just this angry mob. Mm. So when I penned that letter, it was out of that experience. Mm. Do I want our children to go through that? And that is the era they're taking us back to.
And you saw the Ogunsi letter taking you back to that.
I definitely, not his letter, it was his statement at a meeting.
At a meeting.
So it took me back there, and I realized I have to speak out, and I have to speak out. And I expected that there was going to be condemnation by the leadership of the People's National Congress. And there was no condemnation. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. So tell me how in good conscience I can be associated. I mean, I've been very fair. I've been a very fair, pragmatic person. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I give you an opportunity to redeem yourself, etc. But you haven't done so. So I had to do what I had to do.
All right. Just some clarity. When did you finally make the decision that you've had enough? What was the I mean, those things you mentioned earlier contributed, but what was the specific turning point when you made up your mind? Take us through that.
Thanks for that question, Leonard. But there wasn't a singular moment that led to this decision. There were several straws that broke the
camel's back.
Yeah, proverbial camel's back. The way I was treated, the moral decay in the party, when I was asked to serve, and I was asked to serve as the legal personnel in the government, APNU government. And then in 2020, I was asked to be a candidate on their list. And I saw all of that as being a continuity of my belief system that I am serving in a public capacity. Service to humanity is part of my belief system. So I decided to serve. And then there was a moral decay. There was just a moral decay. There was a moral decay, and there were several things that led to that. And I took a back seat, and I did an assessment. I said it's either team regressive versus team progressive. And I had to make a conscious and deliberate choice. I had to make a conscious and deliberate choice, because at some point in your life, country, patriotism has to triumph over everything else. Another thing that really hurt me was that a lot of people would not know this, but I was extremely very close to Miss Amna Ali. I went to her when I did my, people call it the acrostic, when I said I support peace, progress, and prosperity. I went to Miss Ali. She was the one that was very instrumental in me crafting my budget speech, helping me put together my thoughts. And her words were always to me, innotation is your problem. Stop thinking as a lawyer. So she was very instrumental with the preparation of my first budget speech. And this year budget speech, I went to her and I said, Miss Ali, I am interacting with people from all sections of Guyana, and people are asking me, you're a mad woman? How is it you're not supporting the positive measures of the budget? We're benefiting from the cash grant. We're benefiting from all the roads. Y'all can't do better than this. I mean, forgive me the Creoles, but I'm trying to imitate exactly how the people
we
would be.
welcome that here.
Okay, so the people were very direct and very blunt. And ultimately, the question was, how can you in good conscience not say that there's something good in the budget? And my home every weekend, I have a 16-year-old. Very social girl. So she has like a bunch of friends coming over there. And they would come over there and we would talk politics. And they would be, Auntie, how is it you're so regressive? We want to be leaders in this country. But we can't be leaders if y'all just being cantankerous and opposing for the sake of opposing. Why can't you just have a meeting point where you say, yes, we agree that this is actually very good. This is a positive move for the people of the country. So all those things have shaped my position. And I went to Miss Ali and I said to her, she said to me, her exact words to me was, Pickney, go home and think about it. Because you know if you're to do something like this, what's going to happen to you? So she gave me 24 hours. I went back to her. And I said, I feel very strongly about this. I said, I looked at the budget. I didn't sleep. I studied this budget. And I said, Miss Ali, I've looked at all the previous budgets. And I think I was just towing party lines. And I've looked at this one here, and there is so many positive measures in this budget. So why can't we constructively criticize? And where you can give praise, you give the praise to the budget. And she says, if you feel very strongly about it, go write your script and come back. And I did that. And I went back to her. And I sat there with her and her niece. And her niece was saying, oh, this one you're going to get lashed to the head. This one you're going to get lashed to your back. I say, you know what? I'm prepared. Because I'm prepared to speak my truth. Very prepared to speak my truth. And something that hurt me very much was the way she was treated. I was extremely hurt by the way she was treated. Miss Ali is a stalwart. She's dedicated her life to the party. She could have done other things, like most of us, go on, have a family. But I always ask her, and we had very private conversations. I would say, why wouldn't you do like the rest of us, have a normal life? But she says her life is dedicated because it's her father's legacy that she wanted to keep alive. Her father being Barakat Ali. So she wanted to keep her father's name and legacy alive. So I hope you get what I'm coming
Yeah. Let me just quickly, Freddie.
Sure.
From your answer, it seems like your move was on a sliding scale, right? Gradually. I am certain, because the Aubrey Norton did mention it, that a lot of y'all that left, speaking specifically about you and CRAM, that y'all were disengaged from the PNC for a while, and you just confirmed that you were disengaged for some period. During that period when you start on a sliding scale and you were disengaged, did anybody approach you for a talk, for conciliatory talks, to see where you are, to ask you where we're going wrong, how can we serve you, what can we do to keep your interest and all of that? Has anyone?
There's certain narratives being pushed out there, and I said to myself, there's a way that truth unfolds. Discernment of the people is very powerful. Assuming for the sake of argument, we want to accept the narrative that is being pushed against me. Think about the others. I'm not the only one who has resigned or who has left. Think about the others who have left. Are you saying that all of us are lying on somebody? Your entire house is burning down and you're not seeing what is the problem? Your entire house is burning down and you're sitting there in a bubble. And in a bubble, not realizing what is happening to your party. And I think the PNC is a great party. I think the PNC is a great party, but it's just that the leadership is failing the people right now. People, they're failing the leadership. They're failing the people. The leadership is failing the people. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because this is very emotional for me. But you can't serve if your ego is bigger than your purpose and your cause.
I know what you're getting at.
You know what I want to say, but I can't say it.
I know what you're getting at. I've been along a long time.
But coming to your question, to answer it very specifically, no, we were not being engaged. We were not being engaged.
By no one at no level?
You can't say
not
that
even an intermediary?
No, you can't say that we were not willing to serve when I was asked to serve. Because of my skills. And there's a public statement made by him. And he said that I was selected to serve as his general secretary because of my academic qualifications and because of my interhuman personal skills, which I do have the ability to connect with people. And those were the reasons. I don't think he wanted a window dressing at that time, or a curtain dressing, or a slave catcher, what they're labeling me now as.
Geeta, you were not an ordinary member when you reached the stage of representing a party in the highest forum of the country. I mean, the legislature is the highest forum of a country. They make the laws, they change the constitution, they amend the constitution. It's a powerful institution. Is there anyone in the parliamentary opposition, not the Congress place, that was there any 3 or 4 or 5 of you that would meet periodically and say, listen, things are not going right. We better stem the tide?
Yes, we did. It was my honor and my privilege to serve in the highest decision-making body of my country. It was truly an honor and privilege. There was, and probably still is, factionalism in the party. So we would all meet, like maybe 3, 4, and there were probably bigger groupings that would meet. And we would air our grievances. But we did not feel that the environment was conducive for us to air our grievances, or to speak frankly, or to have an honest conversation. Because many of us are not yes people. And if you want a truly democratic society, you have to be willing to accept that there are going to be differing views. And you have to accept that. And we did not feel that the environment was conducive. And many of us said that, you know what, we're going to serve on faith, hoping that there's going to be some miracle happening.
Geeta, you have said quite an analytical mouthful and quite a descriptive mouthful. I think people who are looking at this program and who are familiar with politics will obviously say to themselves, actually, she thinks that leadership is going to survive in 2025. It's not a rosy picture you've painted. I mean, I think you've painted a picture of leadership failure. Just when you're looking at this program, remember the words, listen to the words you're saying. I think you've just painted a portrait of leadership failure. That leadership failure, you see it being continuing after 2025, or there may be some changes to that party you once knew and once served?
It's most unfortunate that I'm painting a very gloomy and dark picture, but this is actually the reality. It's the reality. I wish I could have painted something very vibrant. If there was a vibrant picture, I would not have left. And many others who have left, and there are other high-profile people, and you might want to just diminish or water down their effect, but there were high-profile people that really served and genuinely wanted to serve with purpose within the party. So it's not my intention to paint this gloomy picture, but it is really the reality. It is the reality. I think at the Congress level, we are going to see what is in store. I think after the 2nd, I think the members of that party are going to they're probably going to do a postmortem. They're going to do a postmortem because there's going to be a need to do that, because they are going to be trashed severely at the polls. Because I'm back home with the party of my parents, the party of my ancestors, the party where I belong to. And I know this is the party that is going to take us forward. We are on a transformational path, and we cannot risk going backwards. And over the years, I've networked with a lot of people and a lot of stalwarts from the PNC. They would not come out and say this publicly, but they themselves are hoping for a change in leadership. They know that they're going down that spiral. And I think they're just waiting for September 2nd or maybe September 1st when the results are announced. But if we want to keep the country going, we are now the fastest growing economy. We have to vote for a team that is tested, tried, and proven. President Ali has proven he's tested, tried, and proven. We have a global champion of the earth, Dr. Barry Jack Dio. We have Brigadier Mark Phillips. He's exceptional. He served in various capacities. And I was asked this question in an interview, what I think about Miss Finance. I think she's an exceptionally good person, very beautiful person, but she pales in comparison with Brigadier Mark Phillips. Brigadier Mark Phillips held a very senior position.
He does not have the experience, Geeta, with that man.
She clearly doesn't.
He's in his 60s, she's in her 30s.
And the thing, if I can make a quick comment on that. Nagamutu
Mansov is the head of the army.
Nagamutu
and it's a very high-profile position because you have to balance so many national issues along with civilian responsibilities.
The head of the army and the head of the police force are two of the most pivotal roles.
Nagamutu always used to say, if something goes wrong with the president, your prime ministerial candidate must have the confidence of the nation that that person can run the country. I wonder if you feel that way about Geeta Finance.
No, I've just said that. I've just said that before you even asking me that question. I mean, I think she's an exceptionally pretty girl. She's very nice, warm, friendly. I think she has the best of intentions.
Those are other qualities you want to
exactly. You have to look at substance over symbolism. And Brigadier Mark Phillips has proven himself.
Yeah.
He has served our country. He has held that high office. And he has served very well, navigating all the national challenges.
The head of the army would know the country inside out.
Precisely.
He would know which part is vulnerable to environment disaster, which part is vulnerable to security. Yeah,
he would be exposed to technical trainings as well.
But do you know, in the United States, when you serve in the armed forces, people see that as a stepping stone to politics because you know so much about the country by being in the armed forces. Right. So I mean, you may be doing him a disservice.
But let me say this quickly before we move on with another question. My lack of confidence in finance has nothing to do with her age. Because, for example...
But experience counts.
But if somebody like Amanza, for example, had occupied that position, I might not feel that same way. A kind of confidence that she understands something about administration comes over to you somewhat. That does not comes over from Geeta Finance. That's all. I just want viewers to know that I'm not condemning, or we here are not condemning her because of her age or youthfulness.
I don't think we're condemning. I don't think we're condemning anyone here.
We're not condemning, but we're expressing a lack of confidence.
Political contribution.
Right.
Political contribution has to be and that is why I thought it is absolutely insane for someone who's never worked a day in his life, doesn't know anything about life itself, Mr. Azzuddin Mohammed, would want to. You would think that he would try his hand as a regional chairman for us, try his hand.
Come through the ranks. Come through the ranks.
This man wants to be the president. You don't know.
You listened to his answers yesterday. Very soon, very shortly. You're not running, not even for PTA. If you're running for Parent Teachers Association, you have to have a plan. This is not kindergarten you're running for. You're running for presidency of our country. You're running for presidency of our country. And I don't have anything with anybody having big dreams because we all have...
No, but a man and a woman has got to know. When I was growing up, that was pumped into me. You've got to know your limitations.
I don't have a problem with people dreaming very big, but I have a problem with you not giving an explanation. You're trying to paint a picture of victimhood. As if it is the government who has sanctioned you. But it was not the government. It was OFAC who has sanctioned you. And you have a moral obligation. And I know a lot of them, the trolls are going to come after me. But like I've said in my endorsement speech, me back strong. I'm from Chesney, Albion, so I prepared for it. So I'll speak my truth.
You know he's a Barbician like you.
Yes. But he's Region 5, I was Region 6. I'm from the plantation. But you couldn't answer simple questions on policy. How is it you're going to take our country forward? Can you represent our country internationally? Can you represent our country internationally? Can you give us the sort of representation President Ali did with Venezuela aggression? No, you can't. You can't, and that's why I feel very strongly about it. You clearly don't have a plan. You can't. This is a very smart age, smart era. You can't come and bluff your way. You can't come and bluff your way. If you have plans, programs, and policies, you would have been rattling them off yesterday. But you clearly don't. You don't even have a structure in place. Why is it your prime ministerial candidate is a big secret?
They're looking for one.
You're clearly looking for one. You don't have a structure in place. And I mean, I'm okay with people dreaming and everything, wanting to have big positions because, I mean, we're all dreamers and so. But you owe the country an explanation. You have to give the country an explanation and speak on those sanctions. And if you want to occupy that high seat, you got to give the country an explanation. And you've been shying away from that. You've been shying away from that. And you can't expect people to vote for you on popularity. I saw something on Facebook. One of his relatives says, you're going to rev the Lamborghini and then cash grants and you're going to solve people's problem. Is that how you intend to run the country? I don't think we should even be spending a lot of time on this particular candidate because at the end of it, it comes down to the PPP versus the it's no longer the PNC, but the APNU.
But how it could be APNU? Which are the other parties? Sarah Buhali party was part of APNU.
Yes. Builders Party.
Sian Sharma, the son, was part of APNU. He's gone over to AFC. Ali Kak had a party.
Gap.
So how could it still be APNU? Who's left in APNU?
The Ganja Party has joined.
Ganja,
WPA.
a Ganja Party?
Yeah, there's a party named
Ganja Party.
Leland Sal Party.
Yeah,
and that is something that we gotta pay.
WPA. WPA.
And that is something that we can't just allow to slide because the Ganja Party, using your words, went on stage at the launch and said we closed down the estate and we plan Ganja. Is that your plan for Guyana?
What I don't understand is in the history of politics, you see it in leadership all around the world. When the deputy or the third in line make a mistake, the leaders quickly make a spin and say, look, she was misinterpreted. She didn't really meant what the press is saying. But I cannot believe how Norton treated you. Norton, who came through the ranks and knew how Bonham felt about having Indian content. I mean, I can't believe how Norton just sits down and allow these destructive things to carry the PNC to the chasm. You know him, so you should.
It's just most unfortunate. It's most unfortunate. The PNC has had their first launch in 1957, I believe. I mean, subject to correction.
Yeah, they were born in 1957.
1957, they've had their first launch. And looking at their launch 2 weeks ago is very disappointing. Very disappointing. Yeah. And that's a very telling tale. The PPP has had their launch in 1953. And if you look at their continuous launch, you see they're on a trajectory. As opposed to the PNC, 1957. And look at 2 weeks ago figures.
The thing that bothers me, Geeta, is I grew up in an age where people in each party are tripping over each other to make sure they have a multiracial image. So the PPP looking for African names to present a presentable entity to the world. And so was Forbes Bonham. You look at the nomination march. The PNC got Terence Campbell, an African. They got Todd, the Adriana family. You're not seeing Sarojini Singh. You're not seeing Anil Soklam. But that is the reality of our country. Our country is deeply multiracial.
It is that, but subject to correction here, sir. I don't think the PPP is looking to have that image.
That's the way the two parties evolved.
I know, but they're not looking for that sort of image. This party, the People's Progressive Party, being led by President Ali and Dr. Barry Jagdeo, they're not looking for that. They genuinely want to one Guyana. They genuinely care about every citizen, regardless of your ethnicity. And that's why you see so many of my Afro brothers and sisters embracing this party. And when I say, please permit me to mention this here, I came into politics because of my brother James Bond. My brother James Bond was the one who introduced me to politics. He invited me to a community meeting, and that led to a series of community meetings. And that was my first exposure to grassroots politics. Grassroots politics. So coming back to what you've said earlier, the PPP is not trying to paint an image. Genuinely, President Ali and Dr. Barry Jagdeo, they care about the people, regardless of how you look, regardless of your ethnicity. They truly want a one Guyana. If I was not that convinced, I wouldn't have been that bold on the floor to endorse President Ali, Dr. Jagdeo, and the People's Progressive Party. Because my endorsement was not just a yes, yes, yes. My endorsement was actually 12 minutes plus long. And I spoke extensively as to why I am endorsing this party. So it was not just a carte blanche endorsement. It was an endorsement with my backing.
Are you not only supposed to speak when the chief whip allows you? How did you get on the roster?
I was slated to speak on 2 or 3 of the bills that night.
Oh, okay.
2 of the 3 of the bills that night, and I know. I assumed it was going to be the last sitting of Parliament, and I just thought it was the best thing to thank the Speaker, tell the Guyanese people it was my honor to serve, and to use my voice, because I was in that seat because of them. They were the ones who voted for me, and they would want me to use my voice. And I used my voice so they could have seen reasoning, and I used my voice that night because of what they've said to me. They said, "You heading good? We benefit. We benefit from the positive measures." So when you stand up there cussing like a yard
what
fowl,
do you say to people who said that if you know you're no longer gonna stay with the party, why you don't just resign rather than get up and quote unquote embarrass the party leadership like that?
The party leadership was embarrassed. I spoke my truth. I think they knew.
I'm just telling you what is being said out there.
You were going on hearsay. I'm a trained lawyer. I don't go on hearsay.
Evidence.
Come on, man.
Evidence.
You just spoke of people who you talk to in the community.
But the thing is, I can back that up, so that would not be hearsay.
Okay.
But I mean, I did the honorable thing. I resigned right after, almost immediately right after. I did my endorsement. But there are people who wanted me to use my voice, and the very people who have elected me to hold that seat, to use that voice to say that President Ali, Dr. Barry Jagdeo, and the People's Progressive Party is the party that's going to take us forward. So I used that voice based on those votes that put me in that seat. And it's extremely disturbing to hear people say that I'm sitting there on Afro-Guyanese votes. Since we've had free and fair elections, we know that the PNC could only have won those elections only when they collated. And they collated based on a collation that represents a multifaceted representation of our society, and that's the only way they've won. So for you to say that I'm sitting there on Afro votes is very disgusting, is very disturbing. And I heard a former minister saying that I'm sitting there on Afro votes, but I want to say that you were the one.
You heard the former saying that?
And there was actually a statement. Oh, we're going to hearsay. There was actually a statement.
No, I'm not thinking what you're thinking. What I'm thinking is that for the sake of history, that we should let these things slip into history. Who's that person? If you heard it, you cannot be sued. You're a lawyer. You should know what is liable for
the
what.
Person that held the post of Minister of Finance said that I've sent a dagger into the backs of the PNC and the backs of Afro-Guyanese. But I say to you, if you were that good of a finance minister, I would not have been in your seat.
That man is a litigating man. That man looks for anything to want to sue. So,
there is
you're a lawyer, you don't have to advise on that.
There is an article that is Guyana Standard, I believe, that carried his quotes, where he said that I'm sitting there on Afro-Guyanese votes, subject to correction, and the word dagger was used. where dagger was used.
You say that about that
Well,
man,
well, then,
he'll sue you.
then that has to
man
apply.
likes to sue.
That has to
A man
apply
likes to sue.
to people like Ganesh Mahipal and
By the way, Ganesh Mahipal would have made an exceptional prime ministerial candidate. He's someone who has come through the ranks. He's an exceptional debater. He has very good.
But you know, people expected that he was Norton's running mate.
I expected
And then the
that
thing
as
just
well.
happened with Joette.
I don't know what happened behind the scenes.
subterfuge. That is what happened.
I think they got caught badly with that. When the trio went over from AFC, they had to do something, but it was generally perceived by non-PNC people, by analysts like myself, that it would have been a Norton Ganesh Mahipal
I think Ganesh would have made an exceptional prime ministerial candidate. Ganesh has come through the rank. I mean, Ganesh is robust. He's good at what he does. I mean, I can't criticize him or condemn him for being aligned or having his belief system in the People's Congress. I mean, that's his belief system.
And by the way,
but I think he would have been an exceptional PM
And
candidate.
by the way, Mahipal is one of the only opposition people who are in the opposition bosom who would come on programs such as these and speak his truth. The others, the current prime ministerial candidate and most of the others wouldn't come. I'm telling you, they wouldn't come because this is a space that will make them feel uncomfortable.
And they shouldn't be. We don't ambush nobody here.
Right.
Well, I hope there will be many more invitations. I mean, right now, I am the GS has assigned me to campaign in Region 5 and Region 6.
Campaign Region 5.
Region 5, Region 6. And we have our next major rally coming up on next Sunday. And it's going to be at the Albion Sports Complex. So we expect all of you to turn up in your numbers at the Albion Sports Complex for our next major rally. You're going to be hearing from our president, from our prime minister, and from our vice president. You're going to be hearing more about the programs, plans, and policies that they have for the next 5 years. You're going to be hearing more about the manifesto. You're going to be hearing more about the transformation plans that they have to take us forward. And I expect Berbice, when I say Berbice, 5 and 6, more so 6 to come out in your numbers, because Region 6 is the region that birthed Dr. Cheddar Jagan. And you owe it to him. He's the founding father of the People's Progressive Party. And you need to, yes, it's a stone throw, and you need to come out and show your support. And you need to come out and express your gratitude, because a lot of you have been reaching out to me. And I've been on the ground since I've done my endorsement, since I've resigned from the party. And I've been walking street to street, corner to corner, campaigning for my party. So I expect you all to turn out there at Albion. I expect you to see the numbers. And we want to beat Kitty numbers.
Yeah.
Geeta, I don't want you to call names, and I don't think, know who you are, you want to call names. But when this slide began, you served in a very high capacity in the APNU AFC government. I think you were legal advisor within the office of the presidency.
Yes.
So which means you had to interface at a very high level with the head of that ministry, Joe Harmon. When this thing was, people like Joe Harmon and David Granger took the PNC into government. When this slide began to occur, with your high profile in the parliament, did anyone from the big ones, the former big ones in the APNU government who's close to the PNC, did they ever call you and say, look, what the hell is going on with this party? Look, bear strain, don't leave us yet.
I served as their legal personnel in the ministry, and then I started being drafted into several different portfolios. I started heading the commissions of inquiry. I was that person responsible, and then I started being drafted into several high-profile meetings. One such meeting was being the coordinator for the meetings with the then leader of the opposition, Dr. Barra Jagdeo, on the closure of the sugar estates. I was serving in a civil servant capacity at that time, and I did let them know in closed door the way I felt. But you have to understand, sir, that I served at this level here. I was not at that level. But in closed door, I did let them know how I felt. I did let them know that I feel very strongly about certain things. Very strongly about certain things. But I didn't see the need for me speaking out about certain things because I served in a civil service capacity and I was bounded by the contract at that time. And when we talk about the closure of this sugar estate, it was something that I was very vocal about. Very, very vocal about. Because President Ali, Dr. Jagdeo, they came back and they used those very reports that was produced to them to justify the closure of those estates that was presented to them to argue against the closure of those sugar estates. And that was something that was very pivotal, that stuck in my head. Very, very pivotal.
So after you became a parliamentarian and the slide became pronounced or public, did any of the big wigs in the PNC ever call and say, Geeta, don't leave bear strain, hold on, it's our party?
When Mr. Harmon was leader of the opposition, there was a safe space with him, Mr. Granger, and Miss Ali for you to vent. So they would know how you feel personally. And then there would be certain, conversations and so. But then after that, there was a change of leadership. Things went spiraling downwards, spiraling downwards. I'm sorry I have to paint this very gloomy picture.
No, I think people,
it is the reality.
I think the thousands of viewers here would want to hear your analysis and would like it to be frank and no nonsense.
All right. There's a hard question I must ask you.
Stop it. You don't do that to a lady.
I'm prepared for the hard questions.
It's all over Facebook. World. It's all over Facebook, so you probably need to address it. The comments are that the same party, PPP, was vindictive towards you sometime in your career. How can you stomach now being part of this party that was vindictive towards you?
The People's Progressive Party, CIPIC, was never heading. I was never in control of the Judicial Service Commission. That was the body that's responsible for my termination. That's my simple and short answer.
Okay. So you don't feel any sense of revenge or anything like that?
I am back at home. You know what coming at home feels like? You feel at peace. You feel very content. And since I've come back at home, I'm no longer conflicted with myself. And a lot of people in my inner circle would tell you that I'm smiling more.
That's deep. That
is very deep. A lot of people would tell you that I'm smiling more. I'm no longer conflicted. I am content and I'm at peace because I'm at home.
You're just politically happier in the present circumstances.
I'm personally happier. I'm personally happier as well. Yes, because there's no longer ideological conflict. Yes, because this is the party that I grew up in. When I joined them, I thought that change was going to be good.
So hold on. I gotta ask you this other question.
Stop it.
Hold on. Freddie, no.
Stop it.
She's a guest. She can choose whether she's gonna answer or not.
I'm gonna put my hand in.
Hold on.
I'm gonna put my hand in.
No. Hold on.
Put my hand in.
No. I gotta ask you this question.
No, you don't.
You are saying that you are home now. You feel comfortable. You're smiling more. All that you just said, everybody heard. Are you saying? Well, you are actually saying that, but what do you perceive to be the reason why you felt a little uncomfortable in the APNU, in the PNC, where you just came from? based on your answer, I'm extrapolating.
But before you answer
Some
that,
discomfort.
But before you answer that,
fully accepted.
before you answer that, I know your donkey ears and you're always smiling. See if you're smiling more.
And do you think that has to do with your ethnicity or something else?
Oh, definitely. I don't think I was ever fully trusted. And I think even when I served with Mr. Granger administration, albeit I was their legal person, I served at this administrative level. Even when I was asked to serve at their campaign office on Lamahar Street in 2020, I was asked to serve because of my exceptional administrative skills. And those were the words that they used. I was a career civil servant, and they asked me to come on board, be a part of the list, and to serve at the headquarters. And at their headquarters, we dealt with, admin matters, which I was exceptionally good at, and because of my people skills. So it was. I don't think.
So you think there was a lingering suspicion?
I think also after the aftermath of Charandas, every person that looks like me is judged.
And you could feel that tension in the air.
Yes, and then when I supported the positive budgetary measures in February of this year, I was subjected to the worst. And I thought that was a moment.
From people in the PNC leadership.
From the people in the PNC leadership and their supporters. And they were being egged on by the leadership. They were being egged on. And I thought that was a moment for them to redeem themselves. Here you have somebody who has come on board giving a refreshing perspective, an independent and objective perspective of the budget. Capitalize on that. But what do? You call me all sorts of vile, derogatory names and saying things to me. You don't think it's going to hurt me? The only good coolie is a dead coolie? I've been subjected to the worst. So
there's unknown people saying that, or very well-known people saying that?
Known people saying this, sir. Known people saying
in the PNC leadership. Geeta Chandan and Edmund, I'm asking you again. Nationally known politicians in the PNC saying that?
When you were in the witness box, when I was a magistrate, you would give me very sharp answers. Very sharp answers. I don't know if you recall when you were before me.
He was a witness?
Yes, when he appeared before me. Yeah. And you'd give me very short answers. And my answer to you is yes. Short and crisp, yes.
Oh my goodness, you heard that? That is the way people be. Do you realize that it was serious racism?
It was. I was subjected to the most vile racism. And I think it mentally prepared me for my public endorsement. And at that time, I didn't plan on endorsing President Ali. Like I said, I wanted to give the party a fair try.
Geeta Chandan, Edmond, wait a minute. Leonard Craig, this is the part of this interview that should go into history. No one, people who have led this country for 5 years, people who belong to a party born in 1957, never said, Geeta, a couple of us want to meet you over coffee. And then said, man, Geeta, we got a little damage control, right? I mean, you said that. I mean, that's the way you feel. But I mean, let me see if we could talk something. I mean, the reaction was every C person is a dead person. This is the way a national historical institution behaved. No, Craig.
I wonder if I must share this experience, but
no. 2 minutes remaining. The opposition say you
can hear that? Okay.
You always ask people to bring out things so it could go into history. Please share this with Geeta. She's a politician. She's young yet. She got her whole future in front of her. Please share that experience.
All right, let me share it quick.
Yeah, then we end.
Remember, APNU AFC was together, right? And we had to share certain roles during election time. And I remember going into Congress Place one time. And somebody said to or did to Amna. And Amna let loose loud. And Amna said, not because I'm a coolie girl, you think you could take your eyes and pass me. And I would wonder why Amna...
That's Sigmund Freud coming out there.
Who is 40-something years at the time in the PNC would even utter something. It was a shock to me. I mean, I've never mentioned this publicly. I went home and I talked to my wife about it, and it baffled me all the time, right? And one day I was at Amna. I didn't know that was Amna's house opposite thing on Brickdam there, and I went there and right somewhere in that vicinity, and I was passing there and I parked and was going to NIS, and I saw her. And she said, Leno, what's going on? And I went up to her and we gaffed a little, and I asked her why was that? And she said, Leno, I don't talk party business, you know, you from the AFC. And we smiled, and that was it.
She was very loyal.
But that is still with me. And I'm telling you, it's 100% true. I witnessed that.
Well, you are practicing Seventh-day Adventist, so you have to say, over God, it's true, right?
I don't believe in swearing, but I'm telling you, that's an experience, and I have no reason to lie.
But that is very telling, Leno, from your experience there, that she is someone we all know that has given
that
over 5 decades, and she has to justify her ethnicity.
Freudian mind.
So it is very telling. It is very, very telling.
Geeta, did you know what you're going to do what you are going to do to the votes of the PNC when this program aired? Do you know what you have done here? And I think you've spoken your truth, you've spoken conscientiously, but most of all, you have leveled with the Guyanese people. You have told them things that as a politician who they serve and you will serve, they need to know what you've experienced. On that note, Geeta Chandan Edmond, our operator signal, we're 1 minute over time. We're going to have you back here late August.
August? Why only till then?
Because you will have time, you will have enough knowledge to tell us about your experience in the campaign. I would say middle August. So you sit down and you tell us what's happening in the campaign.
Oh, there's so much I can tell you. I've been on the campaign trail every sign. But whenever you want me, subject to my commitments, I will always avail myself to you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us. You have listened to one of the most absorbing account of the frustrations of a politician in Guyanese politics. I hope the thousands of people who have looked and listened to Geeta Chandan Edmond will reflect on her description, analysis, and disappointments in her experience as a Guyanese politician. Have a very, very pleasant weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Catch you later. Bye-bye.